This is a blog about normalcy bias and my fears about it. I started my life over at the age of 64. My 3 grown children were not talking to me. More than that, it was evident that they would not be successful, and they would probably not give me grandchildren. Even if they had kids, it was pretty clear that they wouldn't be much like me, and they wouldn't be part of my life. In short, I concluded that my grown children were self-absorbed millennials who would never assume adult responsibilities. The decade since has sadly proven me out. Only one has a career, and I fear for that. She treats her co-workers as badly as she treats her boyfriends. My younger daughter is dedicated to helping Africans become Swedes. My grown son merely drifts, counseling others on drug abuse, sometimes committing a little bit of abuse himself. I could cry, woe is me, except I am so far from alone. That's the subject of this blog. Last weekend I telephoned old friends back in the United States. Skype makes calling from Ukraine pretty cheap. For the most part, only my conservative friends even talk to me. Leaving my disastrous marriage to a liberal wife is apparently an unpardonable sin. 20 and 30-year-old friendships appear to count for nothing when compared to affronting a liberal and a woman. The first of my friends that I talk to has only one son, and that son is gay. They still talk, but my friend remains unconvinced that it's a matter of no choice. The second friend has 2 children, both liberal, only the older daughter being gay. They talk very carefully, avoiding a lot of topics. I did manage to get through Edith, a fellow independent consultant whom I had introduced to her husband some 30 years ago. She couldn't get off the phone fast enough. Though I asked, I never did hear how her 3 grown daughters are doing. I tried to contact Sue, the mother of one of my grown son's high school friends, a woman to whom I gave a job after her husband died, and with whom I enjoyed many long conversations at work. She has ignored me by phone, email, and Facebook. A few months ago I tried to contact her son David. He had been a delightful boy. I took him skiing with my son and taught him how to drive. He had the same snake-bitten reaction when I mentioned who I was. Although I'd always enjoyed his company, he couldn't get off the phone fast enough. Doesn't want to talk. Why not? Could it be that at the age of 35, he has also done nothing with his life? An unmarried movie maker working gigs in the San Fernando Valley? He was a very social kid in high school. I chased links to his Facebook contacts that I remember from my son's high school days. The same story for all of them. Unmarried, usually without prospects of marriage, no kids, and either an unexceptional career or none at all. The whole generation is going nowhere. Looking at the problem from another perspective, my own family has not been reproducing itself for several generations. If my mother's parents are to have great-grandchildren, it will be through my 2 young kids. My aunts and uncles, brother and sister, didn't come through for them. The situation on my father's parents' side is similar. There are few children, none of them for 2 generations in married households. This is a sad denouement for the scions of the Mayflower ancestors who dedicated the country to ourselves and our posterity. The posterity are scarce, and they have no respect for the Founding Fathers, condemning them as sexist, slave owners, and such. Looking still further afield, I reflect on the men and women from the greatest generations who used to gather for coffee at the Starbucks in Little Falls Mall, Bethesda. They were unqualified successes in war, government service, law, medicine, and politics, decorated World War II veterans. Yet, writing reminiscences about them, I couldn't name one who had 4 grandchildren, much less grandchildren who were inclined to carry on the family line. They are a dying breed. I had hoped that my children would benefit from going to church schools. Unfortunately, I chose the Episcopal Church, which was just as thoroughly steeped in social justice as the Washington area public schools. The Wilde bestseller Finding Ophelia taught their parents that girls were neglected in schools. Sex education was taught everywhere. Parents and students alike believed that homosexuality was normal and that resisting the urge was repressive and retrograde. The true colors of the Episcopal Church have been revealed by degrees. A bishop in Scotland prays that the Crown Prince of England is gay. The church where Washington and Jefferson worshipped in Arlington has removed their commemorative plaques because these gentlemen committed the unpardonable sin of owning slaves. The church browbeats its parishioners on the subjects of illegal immigration, don't call it that, global warming, gun control, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, and other liberal rallying cries. My youngest daughter stopped going to church about the age of 8, but still looked up to the day school chaplain. This priest was assertive about feminism, but still rather pleasant. Having not talked to that daughter for 9 years, I wrote the priest after 20 years suggesting that she give her a call. My daughter might enjoy the contact. The true colors came out. This priest sent the most abrupt, dismissive letter imaginable, saying that's not in her job description. Leads me to doubt that God is mentioned anywhere in her job description. I was reminded of the phrase normalcy bias by an article from a financial magazine. Americans and Europeans alike seem to believe that deficits can grow indefinitely, the money supply can expand indefinitely, and pensions will flow indefinitely. This despite the indisputable demographic fact that people of European stock who brought prosperity to these countries have failed now for 3 or more generations to reproduce themselves in either number or kind. Are all these things that I have recounted normal? Are we so inured that we accept them as normal? If so, I am convinced that we are like the proverbial frog in boiling water. Our civilization will die. What to do about it? I'm starting a new family in a distant country which has yet to embrace the liberal agenda that appears to be destroying the West. A person must have faith. My faith is that my smart and well-educated children will come of age at a time when others like them are relatively few in number. Few descendants of the Founding Fathers, relatively few intelligent people, and few who have a sense of obligation to society greater than simply to themselves. It's a gloomy sort of faith. Now, who among you can offer me something better?